So we're going again.
Hi, my name is Rashane. I attend school at Dorchester Academy. I'm really grateful that you agreed to this interview, and I appreciate you making time out of your day to make this happen.
Thank you.
Today's date is April the 2nd, 2013, and this interview is taking place at the University of Massachusetts, Boston. For the record, can you please state your name and birthday, please?
Joseph Wines, June 19th, 1990.
Okay, so the first half of the interview will be conducted by Rashane Ebert, and the second half of the interview will be conducted by Majesty. The interviewers are both students within the Urban Scholars program of UMass Boston and affiliate with the Veterans History Project Student Edition. What branch of the military do you serve?
I was in the Marine Corps.
Okay, so what was the highest rank you achieved?
Before I got out, I achieved the rank of corporal.
Okay, so like, where were you serving?
I served in Maryland, Southern California, and Afghanistan.
Okay. Did you enlist or join as an officer?
I enlisted.
Enlisted. Where were you living at this time?
I was living here in the Merrimack Valley in Lawrence, Massachusetts.
Like, where exactly?
Well, Lawrence, Massachusetts is.
Why did you join?
I joined to give back to just give back to my country, to really earn the rights that I've been given. Because I think people nowadays take advantage of what they have and don't really appreciate it.
Okay. Why do you pick the service branch that you joined?
I picked the Marine Corps more or less on accident. I had showed up with the intention of talking to a naval recruiter. When I went to naval recruiter's office, he wasn't there. So as I was leaving, I saw the Marines in their office, and they called to me. And they started asking me questions why I wanted to join the Navy, and then turned the focus to why I should join the Marine Corps and what the Marine Corps has to offer me.
You said they asked you questions, right?
Yes.
Like, can you explain like what type of question they asked you?
They asked what I wanted to get out of the military, what my 5-year plan was. Mm-hmm. And I had explained that I don't know what I was supposed to do in 5 years. And they had proposed a set, I don't know, a set amount of money, but things I could have accomplished in that time. And I liked what I heard, and I liked it. And they explained the benefits to me, and it gave me, really gave me a better view of what the military was really about.
Okay. Do you recall your first days in service?
My first days in service were, were kind of a blur, and were pretty terrible. They were filled with a lot of yelling, a lot of hurry up and wait, a lot of getting things thrown at me and making me stand over here to go stand over there, and it was just very confusing and very high-paced.
Can you tell me about your boot camp and training?
Yes, I can. So for boot camp, I was in Parris Island, and in Parris Island, I arrived. It was the beginning of fall, and I was there. Well, actually, at the end of fall, to the winter, and I remember being attacked by sand fleas and being freezing cold and being constantly screamed at and broken down. I take it from being a civilian to being formed into this Marine, and this image of a Marine they had, and I remember just being very, very motivated, very hoorah. And for training, with the past boot camp, I went to North Carolina for combat training, which was essentially another phase of boot camp. It was just getting yelled at being told to push. It was very, very very cold. And then from there I went to Aberdeen, Maryland, where I was taught to be an AC mechanic. Where I learned to fix air conditioners, where I learned to fix electrical systems and cooling systems. And from there I was shipped out.
Okay, like what year was that?
This was October of 2008.
You said
through. Okay, we'll just
you said something about sand fleas. What is sand fleas?
Sand fleas are these tiny little devil bugs. They're about the size of gnats, and they're attracted to, I believe it was just the heat in the morning, and they stick to your arms and they just bite you. It's pretty painful. And the drill instructor is very strict about you not swatting them away. And I remember we had a couple guys who did it, and they made them dig a 6-foot hole and bury the sand flea. When he was all done and he covered the hole back up, the drill instructor said, "Oh, I don't think he was actually dead. Dig him back out." Made him dig the hole all over again. So sand fleas were the bane of our existence.
So can sand fleas kill you or something?
No, they're just an annoyance.
Okay.
But it's one of those things where if you were to be standing there with a bunch of mosquitoes biting you, they're just very, very aggravating.
Okay, so do you remember your instructors?
I do remember my instructors. I had Staff Sergeant Hemingway, Staff Sergeant Alexander, Staff Sergeant Bird, Sergeant Rodriguez, and Sergeant Arguello. Some mean guys. 2 of them were brand new, and we were their first unit. And I remember them being especially hard on me when they first showed up at our in our platoon. But they were tough, but they were fair, and taught me pretty much everything I know. I strive to be like my instructors.
Okay. How do you get through with your boot camp? Did you have any special ways of coping?
I just try to keep myself from being a target. I was pretty much quiet. I wouldn't say quiet in the sense that I didn't say anything, but quiet in the sense that I wasn't the jerk with something smart to say that would just get on the drill instructor's nerves. I would simply scream the knowledge that I was told to scream. I would push when I was told to push, and I would move quick, fast, and in a hurry. And I tried not to talk to family as much, because I learned out there that since I had never really been away from home, going out there for 3 months and then wanting to talk to family just made me homesick. It made me feel terrible. So I really didn't send letters. I got a chance to make a phone call once. It was a terrible idea because I felt horrible after. But so I learned that a little bit of that isolation wasn't a bad thing, and I made really good friends with my rack mates and the guys who were around me.
Like, what was the what was the other training like?
MCT was I wouldn't say pretty intense. I would say it was just really stressful, and we had got out there in the middle of January, so it was frigid. It was cold. It was very, very cold, and I remember sleeping in these metal cans, and the cans felt like it was negative 10 degrees out there, and it was 20 degrees outside. So we would go outside just to warm up. And while in training, I ended up getting some pretty bad strep throat, so it just added to the miserableness of it. And as far as my job training went, that was a little bit more of it still wasn't what the Marine Corps was about, but it was more, I got to learn things I was going to be using out in the field. And it was a chance for me to really shine. And actually I was meritoriously promoted in my schoolhouse, because I had mastered my skills faster than anybody. I had mastered my basic being a Marine skills more than any of the guys that I led. And actually while I was there, I was the platoon leader for everybody that was in my MOS, which is my military occupational specialty. So I was pretty proud when I was there, because I really got a chance to lead and to do what I was taught to do.
Ready? Can you explain like what is a MCT?
MCT is Marine Combat Training, and for those of us who aren't what they call grunts, which are your infantrymen, we went to this and we learned to be a marksman and to shoot and to breach and to enter buildings, but we were taught this in depth with, we didn't specialize in machine guns or in these missiles. We were strictly, in and out, just basic skills, and it was just more or less just to keep us safe in case we ever had to really go out there and kick some doors in.
What does your job entail?
My job is an AC mechanic, and basically what we do is anything that requires refrigeration or climate control. And this isn't, it very rarely does it actually apply to personnel. It was more sometimes with a comm unit. I would later be assigned to a comm unit. It was keeping satellites from overheating, because if the satellite overheated and dropped power, we would have a big issue with communications, because this unit couldn't talk to this unit. We couldn't get a medevac to somebody who was wounded out in the field. So our job was to keep it running, or if we were dealing with refrigerators, it was either to keep food from spoiling or to keep bodies from starting to rot. So it would just depend on where we got sent, but we were trained to deal with it all.
Okay. Which war or wars did you serve in?
I served in Operation Enduring Freedom. I was shipped to Afghanistan in August of 2010.
Where exactly did you go?
I was in the Southwest Province, and I was stationed in Camp Leatherneck, which is, I believe at the time, was the biggest Marine Corps base in Afghanistan.
Okay, so do you remember arriving and what it was like?
I do remember arriving. I remember the plane doing spins in the air as we came into land, because it's their way to evade incoming fire if somebody from the ground were to see us and start shooting at us. So they do spins, and I remember coming real fast, real hot, and landing was just, it almost like all hell broke. It was get off the plane, get all the gear, load it into the truck, and it was just, we were gone. We were a unit in no time, and I remember just the heat and all the armor that we're wearing and carrying around this weapon with all of the rounds in it. Just having that sudden realization that it's real and that it's not a joke anymore, and we're not playing around. Whereas, on the way there we were joking. We were all, for the most part, we were all pretty scared. But it was an interesting experience, and definitely lingered with me for a while.
Yeah, you said that this plane was spinning.
Yes.
Wait, was it exactly spinning in the air, like?
Basically, what they'll do is, I believe the plane basically bakes to the left or right. I believe it usually to the right or whatever. And what it does is it just goes in circles, and it'll just keep going around and around, and then right before it lands, it'll level out, land. Those planes are pretty cool.
Okay. What was your job or assignment?
My job was, since I was attached to a communications unit, was to keep the satellites and the servers from overheating, and it also entailed a lot of keeping people cool, because out there it gets to be about 120 degrees, maybe sometimes hotter depending on the day, and it was keeping these ACs clean, because with all this very, very light sand, which we nicknamed moon dust, these ACs would tend to get bogged down really fast and really quick. So we kept them clean, we kept them running, and we kept communications up. And since I was also attached with electricians, generator mechanics, heavy equipment operators, I would also get to work on generators, wire up buildings, operate these gigantic forklifts, and just basically ensure that all daily operations got done. And since I was assigned other billets too, so not only was I in charge of working on ACs and generators, but I was in charge of keeping the tool room, which we had a couple thousand tools in there, keeping our inventories complete, issuing them to people, and I was in charge of my section. So my section had 300 ACs to deal with. So not only was I keeping track of 10,000 tools, but I was keeping track of 300 ACs that would break randomly for seemingly no reason.
Like you said that, did you have like hard time on these job assignments?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Did you have a hard time doing it, like the job assignments?
When I first got there, it was pretty tough, and it was just because it was a lot of learning the routines, and I mean it was Afghanistan. The routines never really stayed the same, but I learned how to do my job as fast as possible and as efficient as possible, while trying to keep myself, giving myself enough time to, not work 2 days without eating or sleeping. Well, trying to make sure I got something in. So it was tough at first, but as you go on, a 12-hour day seems like nothing, and it definitely became a lot easier as I got through.
Did you see combat?
I did not see combat out there. I was luckily on a relatively safe base.
Were there many casualties in your unit?
We had a few that, while they were attached to other units, got hit by IEDs, which are improvised explosive devices. And there was a couple guys who got concussions, a couple guys who got some pretty serious burns and lacerations. But I would say the guys that were in my direct command, in my platoon, I mean, a couple of us got some nice shocks to the system and got knocked off a couple of buildings and a couple towers. We took some bumps and bruises, but for the most part, we stayed pretty casualty free.
Oh, yeah. Could you tell me about a couple of your most memorable moments?
I can. While out there, we undertook this gigantic project, and it was to bring shore power, which is essentially a power station, in which we set up our entire compound to be powered by this power station, which was also powering half of the base already. And it was a matter of digging these gigantic trenches in this Afghani dirt. And the Afghani dirt is not like regular dirt; it's essentially rock. So we were sitting out there with pickaxes hours and hours and hours. When we finally got it done and we set up these boxes and these circuit breakers and transformers, and we finally got to pull these generators back and really get a chance to catch our breaths. I mean, it was something that hadn't been done there before, and it was a giant undertaking. It was going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars to do this, but in the end, ended up saving thousands and thousands of dollars in fuel costs. And it was just something that was really that's going to last there for a long time after we leave and after the war's over. And also, what we did was we were part of this group that put up this 140-foot radio tower, and it doesn't seem like much, but to be the landmark in the entire base was pretty big for us. From every part of the space you could see our unit, and even the neighboring base, Camp Bastion, you could clearly see, hey, that was NICOM. You have to go 3 blocks down the road just to go to this other unit, but you had to point out us.
Do you have any more you would like to share?
Not that I can think of at the moment.
Okay, so were you awarded any medals or citations?
I was given I would say worded the basic form, which was the NATO, which was given by obviously NATO for that campaign. I was given the Global War on Terror. I was given the Sea Service, and I was also awarded the Afghani campaign.
Okay.
How did you stay in touch with your family?
Since we were a communications unit, there was plenty of access to email. telephone to the internet. So Facebook was even an option at certain times. Skype. So I would call periodically, send emails periodically, and just let them know what was going on, that I was still safe.
What was the food like?
The food there was actually pretty good. I would prefer that food to the food, that they served here on the bases. It was just better, for lack of a better word.
Did you have plenty of supplies and equipment?
Since officially no, but being Marines, we're very very skilled and very adept at making sure we get enough and we get what we need. So we were never in need, and we were never without, and we always made sure, no matter what, we had enough to keep ourselves at 100% readiness and to accomplish anything any and all tasks that we were assigned.
Did you feel much pressure or stress?
There was a lot of stress. Orders were coming down from all over the place, whether it be from the base commander, from our sergeant major, from our commander, from my platoon sergeant, from my my company commander. So there was a ton of stress, and just not only dealing with that, is you have the stress of the higher ups, you have the stress of physical stress was crazy out there. We were lugging around these 6-inch in diameter cables, which are no easy task, and it took all of us to pull them along. And then, of course, you have the heat. It was just everything just combined to make your life out there stressful and as pretty much as difficult as possible.
Was there anything special you did for good luck?
I didn't really have anything other than just talking to my guys and ensuring that we were all on the same page before we went up.
How did people in your unit entertain themselves?
We had an MWR, which was a morale, wellness, and recreation center, and we would play video games, watch movies, and I think there was a couple of computers there for messing around, as well as we made sure to put up a gym and a dojo so that we could practice. So whoever wanted to practice martial arts or work out, I know while I was out there, I got a couple of classes in jiu-jitsu. So we found ways to keep ourselves entertained.
You mentioned something about a dojo. What's that?
A dojo is just more or less just a place to practice martial arts, and it was just this place where we had this big pad set up, as well as gloves and bags so we can hit and we can spar with others.
What did you do when on leave? Did you travel to any memorable locations?
On leave, I came here, back home, and I really didn't go anywhere crazy other than here. And I spent time with family. I saw a lot of friends, partied a little bit, and really just unwound from the 6 months out there. I got a chance to really relax.
Do you recall any particular humorous or unusual events overseas?
Yes, we definitely did play a lot of pranks, and I remember, filling people's boots up with sand and, dumping water on them as they came out of certain buildings, and even setting up non-dangerous, but we would ground something, and we would tie electrical wire, tie it to the ground, and people would touch it, and they would get a little zap, and they wouldn't realize why though. So we constantly mess with them because it feels like a tingle. So we found we had a couple of pretty fun ways to keep each other entertained.
What did you think of your officers or fellow soldiers?
My officers, for the most part, were pretty good guys and girls, and they let us do what we needed to do. They gave us our tasks, and more or less, they would oversee it, but we would be in charge, and we would get it done however we needed to. They didn't sweat the small stuff, and they let us deal with the big stuff and get everything done, and not on our time frame, but it would be done more than in time. As far as my fellow Marines, I love those guys. I mean, these guys I still, I'd still take a bullet for because we went through so much together, and we had so much mutual respect for each other. If I told them to do something, or they told me to do something, regardless of the rank, we would do it. And, we might give each other a few jabs and mess with each other a little bit, but, we got what we needed done, and we had a blast doing it.
Did you keep a personal diary or any similar record of your experience?
I did not. Towards the beginning, I realized that this is not something I really wanted to have a record of. It was just something I wanted to get through and get done and get back home and to really get away from it all.
Do you recall the date your service ended?
I do. It was, actually, I believe it was a Friday in Southern California. It was in August. And I remember waking up actually kind of late and running and checking out with the main area we were supposed to check out, and running back to my unit and talking to some people and saying goodbye. I remember it was a real shock to me because I had Marines that I had been in charge of come up to me and thank me and say they were going to miss me, and I had one in particular come up and say thank me for saving his life. And it was something that had come up a little while back where he was going through some serious depression and serious mental and psychological issues, and I sat there and I talked with him, and I took time out of my day every day to take him to chow, to sit there and talk with him for hours on end, and just make sure that he was in a good state. And it was very it was almost surreal for me. And I remember saying goodbye to everyone, getting in my truck and leaving. And since I had a friend with me, we stopped off in South Dakota. I dropped him off, and as I left, it was almost like hitting a brick wall. I realized it was over, and that there was really no going back. And I'd be lying if I said I didn't get a little teary-eyed.
How long did it take to travel across the country?
I would say total driving time was probably under just about 40 hours, but I made sure to take a couple stops on the way there from to South Dakota. I stayed the night in South Dakota with my friend and at his family's house. And from there I went to Michigan, where I stayed with another friend for about 3 or 4 days just to try to unwind. I'd been on kind of a caffeine kick for about a week, and I made it to Massachusetts within probably another 12 hours after I left there. So it took, all in all, about a week.
What did you do in the days and weeks afterwards?
I think I had only about 2 weeks till the start of college. I just relaxed at home and saw family, saw friends, and just kicked my shoes off and really just enjoyed the time and the peace.
Do you remember what date you reached home?
I couldn't tell you the exact date. I believe it was the first week of, might have been in the first week of September or something like that.
Okay.
But it wasn't very long before the start of school.
Was your education supported by the GI Bill?
Yes, I had fully qualified for all my benefits, and it was 100% qualified, 100% taken care of by the VA for me.
Did you continue any of those relationships? If so, for how long? Oh, I thought he already said that. Okay. Did you make any close friendships while in the service?
I made a lot of close relationships. I have close to probably 100 of my Marine friends just on Facebook in a group, and I have a lot of civilian friends that I still have in California that I still talk to on a weekly, bi-weekly basis, and I try to keep in touch. I made a lot of really good, hopefully lifelong friends. With the distance and with the since we don't see each other all the time, we start to fall out of touch every now and then. But I try to do something and try to try to get everyone back so everyone just has a little catch up. And it's nice every now and then.
Yeah. Did your military experience influence your thinking about war or about the military in general?
Yes, it did. It greatly changed how I felt before. I believe that it gave me purpose. It gave me a reason to do whatever it is that I want to. It gave me that real good push. And I look at a bunch of people that I know right now, and I know that this would be the thing that they need. That full 4 years of military service, where you have to move with a purpose, would definitely benefit them greatly. Especially because some of them are struggling nowadays. And as far as the war goes, I mean, I wouldn't say I've ever fully agreed with the reasons for the wars that we're in, but I do think that there's a good reason behind it, and I support trying and help these people out, and it's definitely changed how I've looked at war. I see it as it's a lot more diplomatic. It's a lot more. I didn't realize that we go there, we try to win hearts and minds. It's not about blowing things up and winning by superior firepower. It's about getting the people to more or less see the right way, even though the right way might be our way.
With regards to your veterans organization, what kind of activities does your post or association have?
There's various little get-togethers. They do movie nights. I wouldn't say we've done a huge amount since I've been here, but I mean, just getting to see the guys on the byway on 2 days a week and getting to hang out with them. I that's all the activity that I really.
Do you attend reunions?
There hasn't been any reunions yet, though we are in the process of attempting to get one going.
How did your service and experiences affect your life?
I would say everything. I would say for the most part, it affected my life in the positive. I've become a better. I assume a better person. I mean, people see me like they haven't before. Before I left, I was, this kid, this jerk, and people see me in a lot better of light. I see myself in a lot better light. It's helped my self-esteem, my confidence, more than I can explain. And the only thing that's really come out of it that's been kind of negative is just the physical damage that's been done to my body, and I walk like an old man some days, depending on if it's going to rain. So, but for the most part, it's definitely been very beneficial.
Okay. Is there anything you would like to add that we have not covered in this interview? Any other stories, thoughts, or experiences?
I don't believe so.
This concludes our interview. I'll turn the camera off now.